Hi golfers, Nick here from Golf Tips Singapore. It's Friday, so welcome to another lesson on golf tips. This week on Golf Tips, we're going to do a Q&A session, something I've not done for a while, but also gives me an opportunity to answer some of your questions in person. So first up, we have a question from my latest video, which was talking about the backswing and the golf swing. Christian here, what about the weight? So he's referring to the body weight, I'm guessing at certain positions through the golf swing. So let's take a look at this video. I just brought up my swing that I used in the video talking about the backswing and how we use the motion numbers here at Golf Tech. And to help me explain this point, I'm just going to put a line there on the right leg, so for myself and the tour player here. So by the time I get to the top, that 55% is probably now 60% favouring the left side as I get to the top. And you can see this with the best players in the world. They always create this daylight between the line and the hip, and I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions in amateur golfers, that they believe they have to sort of shift through that line, which they don't. The best players all turn within that line, and if I was to go through more players, you'd see every player does that. Now as we start down, there's a combination of weight and turning, but by the time we get to say this position here, we're going to be moving from say 60% to sort of 70% here to getting towards 80% of our weight on the left side. And then by the time we get into the impact position, we're probably going to be like 90% of our weight on favouring the left. And as we go through to the finish here, it's going to be around about sort of 95% of the weight on the left side by the time we get through to the finish. So just shows you how the weight is sort of distributed through the swing. So roughly 55% at setup, 60% at the top of the backswing, and then progressively forward to around 80 to 90% of the lower body weight on the left side at impact. That's what the best players do. Moving on down in the comments here, I've got Horace Douglas, he posted this a couple of days ago. One of my older videos actually, lesson 15, power in the golf swing. Great explanation. Is push power one of the sources, Nick? I'm switching to S&T, so he's referring to the sources of power. I've heard an instructor say you can use the bent right elbow to push the wedge through for push power. Is this true? Thanks bro, great work. So yeah, good question there from Horace. So basically he's referring to, I believe, one of the sort of power accumulators to create power in the golf swing. So to try and answer Horace's question here about the bent right elbow, I'm just going to talk about how in the backswing you'll see that the tour players will flex the right arm. And this is a source of power, it's a power accumulator in the golf swing. So the bending and straightening of the arm is one source of power. Now another source of power would be the turning and tilting and swinging the club around the body on an arc is another source of power. But coming through into impact here, you'll see how by the time this player gets through, and when he's talking about the wedge, he's talking about this wedge angle here. They call this the flying wedge. This is basically sort of providing that shaft lean. It's helping control low point, it's helping control the launch, and as a result it does one of the sources of power in the golf swing. So the bending and straightening of the wrist is a source of power. This is the wedge, and then by the time the player gets through to just after impact, then that right arm will be pretty much straight. So they will be slightly bent as the tour players hit the ball, but you can see it bends progressively in the backswing and then straightens to just after impact. It'll be at its straightest point. So yeah, good question there from Horace. So the next question here from G was on the latest video again on the backswing, talking about how the best players move the body using the 3D motion. So the question from G was, the most interesting thing for me is your left knee is bending towards the ball, not going inward. So what he's talking about there is the tour players and myself from face on. So let's just go back to sort of setup position here. Let's bring up my swing and the tour player swing again. So we take a look at the video. I just brought up my swing and the tour player swing. So I'm just going to put a reference on the knee to start with. So as we both swing back here, you can see how that circle appears, it's in the same place, so the knee sort of flex forward. Now if you look at this from a side view, so looking at this from the side view, you'll see how I put that yellow line on the knee. You see in the backswing how those knee flex changes. So all the best players do this to sort of help turn the hips a greater amount, but also turn them on a tilted angle. You can literally go through some of the best players in the world and you'll see the same thing. So just bring out a couple of more examples. You'll see how the knee flex changes and the hips turning on a tilted angle. So yeah, good question there. The knee flex does change in the best golfers, and the left knee should flex forward and the right leg should straighten as you turn in the backswing. So just moving on with the comments, another comment here from Fast Business, posted on my last video talking about the backswing. Just said, thanks for the explanation. I watched the stack and tilt video, but it's good to see you demonstrate with modern technology how the principles work, and I think it's great I know a lot of stack and tilt coaches that do coach through Golf Tech, and I think it just helps us utilise the points that we don't really coach the one swing. You see in the videos I do, I'm bringing out different golfers all the time. We're sort of using a system to coach these players based upon 3 fundamentals: contact, power, and controlling the curve of the golf ball. And I think that's what the best players do. So we use our coaching, knowledge, and our system to help improve golfers, and having the motion numbers to back that up, I think is really great from a coach's sort of perspective. So really appreciate your comment. So moving on with the comments here from Ira Shoff, posted on a recent video talking about turn or slide. So I did a video in the downswing just turning my body, and another one just sliding. And I compared the 2 swings. So basically, if you watch that video, you'll know that if you just turn in the downswing, the swing path moves more out to in. If you just slide, it moves more into out. And there's other influences as well on contact, etc. But really, the comment was, Nick, thank you for this. It answers my problem of constantly pulling shots that I hit well. I am a turner, or was, I might add. I've falled with hip slide and never really noticed loss of distance. But as you know, modern golf and always the turn. So a bit tongue-in-cheek there from Ira. So basically, just going on about how there's a lot of information out there just about turning in the body in the downswing. But if you look at the best players, you'll see there's a combination of not just turning but also sliding. Getting that right is very key to get the right sort of swing path and controlling the contact. Let's take a look at an example. So if you take a look at the screen here, you'll see from the best golfers, right, there's a combination of movements going on. So if we take this player to the top of the backswing, you'll see from, if I just draw a line in for the hip here, how this player progressively moves towards the target, and then on the left-hand pitch he's progressively turning. So the best players are constantly turning and sliding towards a target as they go through. It's not just one motion or the other. You've got to try and get that combination of turning and sliding towards a target in the downswing. So the next comment here is from Mo, and he was talking one of my slightly older videos talking about shoulder tilt using a 3D motion. Posted this a few months ago. So this was a video talking about how the golfers tilt their shoulders, the best golfers tilt their shoulders at impacts. We know from the backswing video last week, the best golfers tilt to the left. They also tilt to the right as they come into impact and through to the finish. So question from Mo: Nick, thanks for the video. I'm new with Golf Tech swing, so obviously he has lessons, Golf Tech somewhere. And your explanation helps me a lot. You indicated the amateur golfers usually have a low tilt at impact. I'm exactly the opposite problem, as I'm tilting about 50 degrees to the right at impact. What suggestions do you have to reduce that to 30 plus degrees? Thanks in advance. So good question, Mo. So this student came to mind when you mentioned this about the shoulder tilt, and this is something I've tried to work on with this particular golfer that I coach here. So from setup, you can see she has a shoulder tilt 10 degrees to the right, which is basically this angle here. Now, in this particular swing, I'm actually holding a noodle on the right-hand side just to help with her exit position. So there's a couple of things I've worked on with this golfer is her exit swinging more to the left to straighten out the swing direction, but also it's partly down to the tilting. So the more she tilts back, it more that shifts the path out to the right and also moves the low point back. So just have a look at sort of the impact position here. This is just the frame as she hits the ball. So you can see in the left-hand picture there, we have a blue number which is 49 degrees, very similar to yours, where her head's actually behind the ball here. This is just as she hits. On the right here, you can see the head's maybe in a better position here. 39 degrees is the shoulder tilt number. So basically, we worked on with this golfer over a period of time. This was just in the last lesson, we just worked mainly focusing on the path, but we have worked a bit on the head movement. So trying to keep that head steady. So first of all, she tends to, I don't know if you do, she tends to sway off the golf ball and then stays further back as she hits through. So we focus really on just trying to keep that head steady. I'd hold a club against the head just to keep it steady, and that tended to change that shoulder tilt. And I see a lot of golfers that actually lean into the ball there, they'll have quite a low shoulder tilt at impact. So I think trying to keep the head still would be probably the first thing I would start with. So my next comment here comes from Swing Searcher. So his question was posted on my takeaway video, which I did a couple of weeks ago. Thanks for the illustration. Do you add more clips that continue to explain what comes next? So I did answer his question, but basically that session or that lesson was talking about how the best players move from setup to sharp parallel in the backswing, which you call P1 to P2. I did continue with that. I don't know if you've seen it. Continued with that video and moved up to position 4, which is top of the backswing, just showing you how the best players move. I'll probably continue with that series of videos moving into the finish at some point, but I wanted to just clarify the sort of the takeaway in the backswing, just using the motion numbers for that video. So yeah, thanks for posting your comment. That inspired me to then move on to do that backswing video. So the next question here is from Michael. Posted this a couple of weeks ago. This is on one of my old videos, well, stack and tilt 10 words. So this was talking about the 10 words. So weight forward, shoulder down, hands in, arms straight, hips tucked. Thank you, Nick. One question: when I do this, my ball striking is much better. The miss that seems to occur is the ball that moves too much from right to left, ultimately missing left of the target line. What is your suggestion to hit a draw with less right to left curve? Thanks. So I just responded to this one at the time and just said, hi Michael, check my umbrella video, lesson 70 out. So just, I'm going to bring on the screen one of my shots I just hit a second ago, just showing you guys what I meant by that, just to help you understand a little bit about club face, the exit position, how to sort of practice that. So Michael, on the screen here, this is my swing when I'm trying to do that feel, the umbrella, and I'll just show you, just play it out to start with. So this is sort of my normal swing. And then, so on the finish position there, what you'll see on the left-hand picture, this is kind of me holding the umbrella, and what you're kind of looking at there is the wrist bend. We call this radial deviation. If you came through with the wrist very flat, that will have a tendency to really close the face as it goes through. Another thing you'll notice here, something I work on with a lot of golfers, is in the exit position here, you see the face, it's sort of pointing back towards the camera. So as I go through, I'm not rolling the wrist over here. I'm just trying to keep this wrist bend as I went through. So I'd practice shots like that, trying to finish in that position. That's what we reference, the umbrella, just trying to keep the wrist bend, and keep the face pointing back towards you. Will stop, or hopefully stop, reduce that right to left curve. So finally, last question. This is from Dominic regarding one of my lessons, talking about the turn and slide video. And he says he's signed up for Stack and Tilt Miami next May, and he can't wait. So yeah, really jealous, Dominic. I wish I was heading out there with you. I'm sure you'll have an absolute awesome time. Andy and the guys, absolutely the best golf coaches in the world. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for those guys. So I'm sure you have a great time, mate, and you'll really improve your golf. So thanks for watching, guys. Slightly different video. Just wanted to try and answer some questions there that I get. It's very difficult sometimes just answering on the phone or on the computer. I think sometimes it's good to do it like a video like this. So I will do more of these in the future, but in the meantime, guys, any questions, post in the box below, and if you don't already, please follow me on my other social media platforms, and we'll see you again soon for another video on golf tips.